Welcome back to Books with Theo. My name is Madison, and today we are going to be doing the 20 question book tag. Not that I was tagged in it, but who cares? It's gonna be fun. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Got my handy dandy list because I would not remember all of these questions. Question number 1, how many books is too many books in a series? I would say anything more than 5 is probably a little too much for me. It kind of intimidates me a little bit. Like the Shatter Me series, I started book 1 forever ago, and there are just so many books in that series. I'm afraid. Same with Throne of Glass and the Shadowhunters series. Those all just terrify me because of how long they are. And not only that, but Shadowhunter books are really chunky. So I would say anything more than 5 probably would be kind of where I'm at. Although I do like the Ice Planet Barbarian series, and there's like over 20 of those. And I don't feel overwhelmed by that. I don't know, take what you will from it. The second question is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. They make me want to throw my book at the wall. Anyways, if they're done right and they're done well, they can be really fun. But also, I don't want my heart to be ripped out and have to wait a whole year for it to be put back in place. I'm 50-50 on that. The next question is hardback or paperback. I prefer paperback usually, unless the book is so thick that I would have to crack the spine, in which case I would prefer to have a hardback because I don't like cracking my spines in my books. The next question is my favorite book, and Theo. My favorite book, which you've probably seen in my videos before, is Angel Fire by Courtney Allison Moulton. And you can tell this book has had a lot of love. Oh my gosh, it's so good. This is about a girl who is basically reincarnated every time she is killed in battle, and she fights demons. And it's got the bodyguard trope, it's forbidden love, it's the YA trilogy. All of the books are out, so you don't have to wait to know what happens at the end. And honestly, like in the last question, you can tell, like, even though this book has had so much love, the spine is still not cracked on it. Favorite book ever? I will honestly probably end up buying second copies of this whole trilogy just so I can go back and reread it and annotate it, because annotating this book that I've had since I was like 14 just horrifies me for some reason. The next question is my least favorite book. This is kind of a hard one because if I find that I don't like a book, I usually just DNF it. But I would say my least favorite book is probably Zenith. And this is part of the Androma saga. This is written by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. There was nothing wrong with the book itself. The plot was good. I liked the characters just fine. These like dystopian, like outer space fantasy novels are usually just hit or miss for me. And this one was a miss. I was really enjoying it though, up until probably like page 300 or something, and then I just could not get it over with fast enough. But again, it had nothing to do with the writing style or anything. It wasn't for me, which I should have known when I picked it up, but I got it at a used bookstore for like $2.50, and I really love Sasha Alsberg. I used to watch her videos all the time whenever I was younger, so I really wanted to pick this up. I know she has another book out now, which I do want to read. I think it's got like Outlander vibes. If you're in to all of the like kind of dystopian, outer space, fantasy kind of worlds, I think you would really like this. We are on question number 6, and this question is love triangles, yes or no? If they're done right, I like them. My version of a good love triangle would be, there's obviously the one she's going to end up with, and then you have kind of like this rival just thrown in there for like jealousy's sake. Those are my favorite love triangles. So it's not exactly a love triangle, but it still kind of gives you those like jealous vibes, and I don't know, those are just fun. So the next question is the most recent book that I couldn't finish. and this is Unhinged by Helen Hart. This is book 2 of the Blood Bond saga. This follows the story of a vampire who was held captive and a ER nurse. And this is a love story between them. It's kind of like Fated Mates, kind of got a little bit of that in there. I was feeling it one day, next day I wasn't feeling it. There's nothing wrong with this series. Again, I really like this series. I do plan on finishing it. I don't know how many books there are in it, to be honest. I will be picking this back up, just I'm not in that mood for a vampire romance. It's set in the real world, but like with the fantasy vibes, obviously. This is an adult romance, so it is a little spicy. And the book that I am currently reading, I just finished a book, so I can talk about that, but I haven't picked out my next read yet, so let me go grab the book that I just finished. So I just finished Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. I finished this last night, and this was a really good book. It definitely didn't live up to my hopes and dreams. It really took after the Pirates of the Caribbean movies in this, so some of it was a little predictable for me. That's where she got her inspiration for these 2 novels. This is the second one. The first one is Daughter of the Pirate King. This is a duology. It wrapped it up nicely. I felt like the ending was a little rushed. Also, this was still like a 4-star read, even though it didn't live up to all of my expectations. I still really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun. We are now on question 9, the last book that I recommended to somebody, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book is heaven. I love this book. I can't say enough good things about it. It's about a girl who gets thrown into a war college, and it's an enemies to lovers trope. It's got dragons, it's got action, it's got badass characters, it's got everything you could ever dream of. And here, I recommend this almost daily to my coworkers. I'm sure they're annoyed. So, pick this one up. Question 10, the oldest book that I've ever read. We had to read The Odyssey. Okay, so the next question is the newest book that I've read. And to be honest, I don't know. So I think the newest book that I've read is actually Fourth Wing. Next question is, who is your favorite author? I have a couple. I really love Melanie Dickerson's novels. Her novels are all historical fiction, fairy tale retellings. They're just pure young adult romances, and they're just so cute and sweet and short, and I just love them. I also really like A.L. Jackson's novel. She writes adult contemporary romances. I do also love Jennifer L. Armentrout. Also really like Ruby Dixon. I don't know, it's just too hard to choose. Colleen Hawke. I love Colleen Hawke's novels. All right, so the next question, we are on 13. And this is, do you prefer to buy books or borrow books? I'm much more of, I like to buy books. I like to have them in my collection. Since reading's not just a hobby for me, I like collecting books too. So I would say that's more of where I lean towards, but I definitely don't shy away from the library. Question number 14, a book you dislike that everybody loves. I've got just the book for this. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This book was just such a miss for me. I was really excited to read it. At first, I really liked the writing style, but it honestly just kind of got to the point where I was having to think way too much about everything in this novel, and I read for fun, and that just wasn't really fun for me. I did really love Libby and Nico, which is why I finished this book, but I won't continue. I think it's going to be a series. I won't continue the series. I would be definitely willing to try some of her other books. This was just a total miss for me. Next question is bookmarks or dog ear. Bookmarks all the way. I don't like my books to be bent or folded or the spines to be cracked in any way. It makes me cringe. Next question is a book that you could read over and over again. So for the sake of doing something different, because it would definitely be Angel Fire, I would also choose Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is a spicy alien human romance. These girls all get kidnapped off of Earth and end up finding themselves on an ice planet that they think is completely just void of life, and it's not. It's like got like kind of like the fated mate. These books are just so good. You can see I'm actually in the middle of a reread of this. I just haven't gotten the chance to finish it yet. I will definitely reread this over and over and over again. These books are just so good, guys. I mean, they really are. If you haven't read them yet, just go pick it up. I know it sounds a little out there to some people, but it is so good. Just trust me, it's really, really good. At least pick up the first book from your library so you don't have to spend the money on it. And maybe you'll find that you like it and that it's worth it. We are down to the last 3 questions. Next question is reading with music, yes or no? As long as it doesn't have words, I can read and listen to music, and it has to be fairly quiet. I like putting on lo-fi music really quietly when I'm reading, but other than that, I can't do it. I lose focus completely. Question 18, do you prefer multiple point of views or one point of view? For most fantasy, I prefer one point of view. I just want to stick with that one character and maybe like get a couple bonus chapters of like others, but I don't want to be switching back and forth constantly. However, contemporary romances, like you've got like the Cat and Mouse duet or the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I really, really like the dual point of views. That's what I prefer. I like to see both, into both minds of the characters and see how they're feeling, what they're thinking. It's entertaining to me. I enjoy it. As long as it's like a contemporary romance, yes. Anything else, no. Okay, so we are on to our last question, which is actually 19. There's not 20 questions because the 20th question is who you will tag. Question number 19, do I read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? I do both. If the book is less than 300 pages or around that and it's on the weekend, I will read in one sitting. If it's not the weekend, or if the book is longer than 300 pages, it'll take me at least 2 to 3 days. I think Fourth Wing maybe took me 4 days. From Blood and Ash, I think took me about the same. If I had all the time in the world to read, I would definitely be a couch potato and read everything in one sitting, but that is not the case. I do have a life outside of reading. If the book is short and sweet, like the 200-300 page range, no problem. I read it in one sitting. I will literally sit in the same position the whole time and read that book. Anything else, no. I am just a little too busy for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this 20 question book tag, technically 19. I'd love to know if you guys had any thoughts about any of the books that I mentioned, whether I liked them, disliked them, anything like that. If you've read them, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.